Welcome to Tallinn, Estonia, said to be one of Europe's best hidden gems. Located in Eastern Europe and part of the Baltic states, this city took us for a surprise. From the stunning medieval old town with defense towers and cobblestone streets to beautiful nature and unique experiences, this city has a little bit of everything. After exploring Helsinki and taking a 2.5-hour ferry to Tallinn, we had just 3 days to see as much as possible. Most people only venture to the old town and city center, but in this video, we'll be taking you inside of Old Town and outside of the city center, showing you the best of Tallinn. We are officially on our way to Tallinn, Estonia! I'm so excited. And to get there from Helsinki, you can take a ferry that's 2.5 hours that leaves directly from Helsinki and drops you off in Tallinn. And our tickets combined were $56, and this boat has everything you could possibly need. I was not expecting this from a ferry, but there's restaurants, coffee shops, a game room. It's basically like a miniature cruise that's a ferry. I'm so excited. I've never been on a ferry like this, and it will be light the whole time because we should be getting into Tallinn at 9:30. Still plenty of daylight to explore. No, just kidding. We're gonna go to our Airbnb and go to bed.
We just got our first glimpse of Estonia. And I'm pumped because this is one country I really don't know too much about. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention in schools, never thought to look it up on my own. So I'm just overall excited to arrive on the land, which we can see in the distance.
I am so excited, and it's wild how in Europe you can just go from like country to country so quickly, and it's so easy, and there's no passport control. You just kind of go into the country and we can start to explore.
We just arrived at Tallinn and it looks awesome.
Honestly, I had no idea there were big skyscrapers. I'm naive, I don't know anything, but there's big skyscrapers, but then you can also see the medieval town as well. It's gonna be such a fun town to explore.
Tallinn's not ready for us. No,
I'm not ready for it.
Fourth country on a year of travel, Estonia! Let's have fun.
A lot. We just disembarked the boat and we got ourselves a ride share because it was the same price as taking the public transportation, but it should be a little bit quicker to get to our Airbnb. And funny story, our previous Airbnb host messaged us at midnight last night saying like, oh, are you still coming to Estonia tomorrow? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, we don't have the booking, you're canceled. And I was like, what? So we had to book this place really quick, and I'm not quite sure much about the place, but I do know it's outside the city more because everything in the city was very expensive, but I'm sure it will be phenomenal.
I'm gonna be honest, we're a little bummed out because we were 5 minutes from the city square and found a really good deal, and now we're not. But our taxi's here, so let's go. Home sweet home.
Oh, I feel like I'm in someone's house because I think I am.
Small and cute.
Aww.
All right, let me give y'all a quick tour. So this is the room we're staying in. It has a bunk bed, which I haven't seen since probably my childhood. Hey boy. A small desk, a chair in the corner, and then we have a whole kitchen, so you know we're gonna throw some budget meals in there. And yeah, pretty much it. It has all the essentials we need for our time in Estonia. Oh, another fun thing is it's like 10:15 p.m. right now, and it's bright out. It just makes it so you can explore so much more in a day, and we love that. But we're tired. We're gonna catch some sleep, so we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Good morning, everybody. We are in Tallinn, and today we are going to start exploring the old town, and I am so excited.
I'm thrilled. We can already see like a castle wall or steps like right there. Hopefully we don't get rained out today. It's starting to sprinkle, but it's gonna be super exciting and I'm thrilled.
Let's go to the city center. We just walked through the old wall. That means you're in Old Town, and it literally does feel like we stepped back in time. There's these cobblestone streets and these walls made out of limestone and the cool lanterns. I can't wait to explore this area because I've never seen a medieval town like this before. We have arrived at the Old Town Center.
And one of the cool things about this trip that I'm really excited about, which we typically don't do, is we bought a Tallinn Card for 2 days, which gives us access to over 50 different sites and public transportation. So I'm looking forward to just being a proud tourist and soaking it all in.
There's some really awesome museums that the city has, and I'm pretty stoked to see it.
And one of the cool things so far is we left early in the morning. It's about 8 a.m. and we're the only ones here.
So that was the famous alley, Katarina Kaik. It's known just for its medieval feel. It has a lot of artisanal shops in there that haven't opened up yet, so we might come back.
It was extremely picturesque, and at the end of the alleyway you just pop out and you can see the city wall. Exploring already has already been magical, and yes, I might be being dramatic, but it is honestly just so much fun. And one thing I've heard about Estonia is people in other European countries would talk about how beautiful like the city of Tallinn was. I can see why they were saying it. People were hyping it up. Definitely lives up to it.
One thing I really like about this city is that they have a ton of viewing points. So we made it to the Kohtuotsa Viewing Point, and you can just see all these red roofs and the little alleyways into the old town, and it's just a beautiful overlook. And what's really cool about the old town is that the old medieval wall is still standing, and you can even go in and walk on it and explore these different museums. Can't say I've ever done that before.
No, not at all.
This is the Dome Church, which is also known as St. Mary's Cathedral, which is a Lutheran church, and it's one of the oldest churches in Tallinn, built in the 13th century. And it was actually a wooden structure built in 1219 by Danish invaders, and then it was replaced with stone later on. And it's $2 to enter, but free with our Tallinn card, and it was really cool to go inside this old church, and all the lights are off, giving it like this like moody feel, but it's filled with all these crests of prominent Estonian families and notable events that happened in history. And the church has gone through a lot of renovations, so there's a lot of different architectural styles inside of the church.
And right next to the church is the Bishop Garden, which offers this lookout point, but you can see it's a lot more modern over here. It's just a nice stark contrast from the other platform we were just at. But now it's off to our next destination. We keep getting sidetracked, but I guess that's a good thing about the city. Our next planned stop, the Toompea Castle, which is built in the 9th century and started off as a wood structure. It fell under control from the Danish, Livonians, and then some other countries all owned this castle, which evolved over time.
And so you can really see like the different architecture that different groups of people like brought into it. And it's really unique to see this old castle. It's one of the oldest buildings in the country.
And one wild part is that we're actually walking on part of the castle now. Like we were just casually walking and we got to like one of those circle pillars look like, and I was like, are we on a castle right now?
We're on a castle.
Where it just looks like a normal platform with like a courtyard.
I think that we might be able to go inside of it. So
nice.
We're gonna try. And also inside of it is where Parliament meets for Estonia. So I got misinformation about going inside the castle. You need a guided tour, which we don't have, but right next door to the castle is the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, which is an Eastern Orthodox church, which was built when Estonia was under the Russian Empire. And it's just a really unique building compared to all the other like medieval ones. And we are gonna go inside and look at it for just a little bit, just to, you know, get our feelers about.
So we couldn't record inside the church, but really what stuck out to me was how bright and how many different colors there were. And there was a ceremony going on, so we quickly left. And now we're headed to one of the things I've been looking forward to the most.
We're going to this bakery and I wish you could smell what we are smelling. It smells so good. The whole alleyway just smells like fresh baked bread and I'm so excited.
One of the rules I have when we plan our trip is to find all the food places, and this place has a 4.9 stars, so I'm excited.
So this bun shop makes fresh buns. The ovens are literally right in here and you can see them cooking them. I got a chocolate bun. Someone recommended it in line, and Brandon got a cardamom bun. It just smells so good. I can't wait to eat it. Look at all that chocolate goodness. That bread is the softest bread I've ever had in my whole life. It is so good. And the chocolate.
I'm excited because I got a cardamom bun. It's so squishy, feels dense, and it's all sticky. Cardamom is one spice I never thought I would have in dessert, but I can see why they put it in dessert. It adds like a unique flavor to it along with all the sweetness. Okay, you know something's really good when you have to go back and get some more stuff. But was that the thing I was looking forward to the most? Yes, but we're actually heading to that place now.
What I'm most looking forward to is going up on the wall and going through the Bastion tunnels. I'm so excited, and the gates are about to open. Let's go. So we just went down the stairs to the bottom of the tower, which has like an exhibit about what was going on, and it's all about the Danes gaining power of Estonia. So it's kind of war, there's artifacts, flags, really cool. Before they restored the fortress and the wall and the towers, this maiden tower was actually an apartment building. And it was an apartment building for a lot of important Estonian artists, which is why they have all this artwork up. It's from some of the artists that actually lived in this tower before it became a museum. We're on the tower, look it! It's just wide open. How cool is this? I love this so much. And the view is incredible.
Arm the artillery! Prepare for war!
I don't know what medieval people say. I keep wanting to say like, arg me mateys, but
Oh,
that's
no.
not right. I don't know what medieval people say. The next tower we're going into is the smallest tower that they had, but it became one of the most feared prisons, and they would chain people up and it would get really cold, and it's said that it may even be haunted.
We're in the gate tower now, and it's honestly kind of random. It just has a bunch of references or images from the past, old items, old chairs, how they were decorated, old branding.
And it's all about cafes, which is making me want to go back to another cafe and get more. But now we get to go into what might be the coolest part of this museum. So it's pretty fun that they like restored it back to like what the tower was at different time periods, because the top of the tower used to be a cafe sitting area. So they restored it to what it looked like in the 1980s. So they turned the fourth tower into a museum, and on different levels they have different exhibits about like the history and different artifacts. So we're going up to the very top and then going down to the bottom so we can go through the tunnels.
I can't say that I've ever had an urge to pick up cannonballs, but since we're here, oh gosh, let's see. That's about like a good 25-30. That one's heavy.
This is what we've been most excited for, is to go through the tunnels of the fortress. This is a pretty cool exhibit because it's taking us back in time. So like the first part was talking about how the renovation started in 2004 and the first visitors to come down were in 2007. So we've gone through a few more eras of the tunnel. Before the homeless punk people were down here and there's a lot of raids to get them out, but this is where they would like congregate and meet. And then after the punk people, it became a bomb shelter for people. And before that, it was where the Soviet Union would keep their propaganda. And then before that, it was another bomb shelter, and that was when they laid down the stone floor in here too. There's also a haunted passage where people say they've seen a white woman in one of the corners of these walls. Spooky, but it's fun to see like how it was used in all the different time periods.
This place has been like information overload, not in a bad way. It's just like each section looks completely different. It's styled in that time period and it just gives you different information. It's really fascinating. But like we just walked into this room and there's a bunch of like stone pieces. Looks like they might have been part of a building or just decoration. I don't really know yet. Do you know?
I think they're just pieces they found around the city that they wanted to preserve. And now we're in the pillar room and there's just a bunch of pillars everywhere.
The detail on some of these pieces are insane.
Our tunnel adventure has come to an end. And they said the tunnel is about 500 meters. And I think when we scan ourselves out, we're just going to pop into a courtyard. I have no idea where I am right now.
Gotta pull up a map.
Wow, that was cool. We spent way more time at the museum than I thought we were going to. And I'm not mad about it. I'm just like, whoa, so much information. Really cool to check out. Totally worth it if you have a good chunk of time. We just got out of the tunnel and we saw all these Estonian flags, so we wanted to share what we've learned about the flag. There's three main colors on the flag, and the blue stands for loyalty, faith, and devotion, and also to represent the sea, lakes, and waters of Estonia. And then the black is to remember the tragic past of Estonia and also represent the rich soil of the country. And then the white represents virtue, hope, and prosperity for the country. And it's just interesting because Estonia has a wild history and it's gone through a lot of things, and it's just interesting to learn about the history of this country.
Outside of Tallinn being the capital, we did learn some other things as well. The first being that Tallinn holds 1/3 of the population in Estonia, and that it's also Europe's Silicon Valley, which a company called Skype is founded here, and also Bolt, which is the equivalent to Uber if you're from the States. Which, I mean, they still have Uber here, but Bolt was founded here. So just some other small facts as we explore more of Estonia. We made it to the Maiasmokk Cafe, and I know what you're thinking, another cafe, but this one is unique because it was established in 1864, and there's always something special about going to the oldest cafe at a place, which this one happens to be. But we learned that one of the Estonian delicacies is marzipan. This thing is handmade and it's mostly consisted of almond and sugar. But there's a marzipan painting station like right there, and they just have them out all over. But I'm excited to try it. No, I'm just kidding. The texture on it is wild. It's like almost waxy, but like a cookie. Like look how much I'm bending this and it's not breaking. All right, I probably shouldn't be doing this. All right, we're gonna test it. Whoa, I'm confused by the texture of it, how it chews, how it tastes. I really can't identify flavor. It doesn't taste the sweetest, to be honest. But I'm kind of just blown away about the texture. I know this is gonna sound bizarre, but the texture is almost gummy-like, mixed with like cookie dough, that raw cookie dough, in a chewy bite. Interesting.
We also found out this is where the creation of Estonia's top chocolate that is sold now was created, so we had to get some chocolate. And we read some reviews online, and some people mentioned this one. So we got white chocolate and blueberry, and then another one that was really popular, which is the original milk chocolate. Let's give it a shot. Whoa, so I can smell the blueberry right when I opened it up. And there's some crunchies on the back too, so. That is delicious chocolate. Probably better than the Bolivia chocolate that we had earlier and a few months ago. The blueberry is so strong and delicious. Whatever the crunchy stuff is so nice, and the chocolate is so smooth and delicious. A solid piece of chocolate.
We also got 2 marzipan bars because of the Tallinn Card, so we got them for free. But we might try these later because we're on sweetness overload.
That was delicious, but now there's still more of the old town that we want to see. So, back to business. The next spot we are going to check out is the KGB prison cells, which brings us back to the history of Estonia that has some dark past. So we're going to get a little bit of knowledge about what was going on, because I don't know too much about the KGB or the Soviet Union for that matter. So we're going to take some time to learn about it.
It's interesting because one of the things they said in the museum is how it has a nice like facade, Art Nouveau style, but the history within is like very dark and just reminds you of the terrors of war.
Throughout their time, they imprisoned 35,000 people.
Jeez.
And they just did terrible, inhumane, heinous things in there. It's wild that up until 1991, the KGB was still active in Estonia. Like, that's like yesterday.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, that's not long ago. It's time for another lookout. Y'all know I love a good view.
We are going to the top of St. Olaf Church, which would cost us $5, but the Tallinn Card will get us in for free, but we did pay for the Tallinn Card. We're gonna go get a beautiful view, and this is the last stop we have planned for today.
I have no sense of elevation right now. I just look up and it just seems like it keeps going and going, and it's super steep. There's been so many times on this trip that I felt tall, but I don't know if it's just because I'm put in small spaces or what, but jeez, it keeps going.
This is a view. You can see the wall. You can see all the church steeples, all the red roofs. You can see the bay.
Wow, actually though.
Wow, we're really tall up.
It's hard to choose a favorite viewpoint of today, but this one easily takes the cake. They even turned one of the towers into an open roof, either bar or cafe. I don't have the best view from up here. We're now in the Creative City area, which feels completely different, but it still feels cohesive and like it belongs. So I'm looking forward to exploring a different area of town.
I guess we never told you where we're going, but it's a contemporary art museum, and I hear it has some really neat exhibits. So, quick, we gotta go.
I have art degree, so this is always like really enjoyable to go to because I learned about a lot of these different styles and I've experienced with a lot of mediums myself. A lot of the stuff is really impressive that you don't get to see when you just get to stare at the finished product, but these artists, well done.
What a great unplanned stop. I think I can count the amount of times I've been to an art museum on one hand. It's just so fun to see the artwork and like the meaning behind it. I like to read the plaques because they just add more. And we gotta thank the Tallinn Card for this, because if we did not have it, we would not have gone.
Yeah, we're trying to get the most
bang for our buck.
Unfortunately, we won't be eating at the Creative City, but it was still a vibe with music playing, and it was like the whole strip was in tune with the creative theme. They even had kids' artwork hanging up. Like, everyone's involved. We're gonna go back to the city center, I think, because that's just unfortunately where a lot of the high-rated restaurants were. So we're gonna go check one out that's 4.8 stars. So recording in a restaurant can feel a bit awkward, but this dinner was an 8.5 out of 10. Wild game is popular in Estonia, so I went for a braised out while Becky tried fish from the North Sea. We also had our first taste of Estonia black bread and went to bed with full stomachs.
Let's go explore Tallinn.
Good morning from the Roklamare district, where it's day 2 of exploring Tallinn. And now we are outside of the city because we have to maximize that card and check out all of the different districts. So we're starting off this morning at the Open Air Museum. It's a blast of the past of Estonian life, which I don't even know where to begin picturing of what that looks like. So I'm really excited.
This place is a lot bigger than what I thought it was, and it has all these different buildings that they brought in from different areas of Estonia at different like periods of time. So you can go around and get a feel for like what the buildings would look like and what region it would be. And I'm just excited to learn a little bit more about the Estonian way of life.
Our first stop is a farm from 1891 where they have the main dwelling building, a closet that looks like a shed, a food and milk storage, a place to do chores, and a place to keep animals. They actually have some live chickens here, which was actually kind of scared me when I heard them when I was walking by it. I mean, they had a lot going on here.
The last two were wood houses, but I'm seeing some stone buildings with stone roofs.
Washing, drying ja siis vot selline primitive ironing.
Ah.
Ja selles ulatuses.
This nice lady gave us a little rundown of how the kitchen works in this little farmhouse. So this is where they'd make the black bread. And then, when it was ready to bake, they'd take this paddle, it's kind of like a pizza paddle, and then they put it into the oven over here, and then let it bake. And she was a nice lady. She taught us a little bit about where they ironed, where they slept, a little bit of everything. Some Finnish traditions, some Estonian traditions.
One of those traditions was that it's more common for houses built in Estonia to just be one story, where you can see the North Estonia houses have a Finnish influence because they're 2-story.
This Russian house was fun to go in. It was so bright and light, and it felt like just like airy in there. But we learned how they enter their house, they always wash their hands, and then they bow to the south corner where they have a religious symbol there. And this house is from the lake that is split between Estonia and Russia. This is a replica of one of the richest farms in the area, and it's also a fortified farm, which you can kind of tell on the outside, like it's walled off, and then you can have the buildings in the back. And I just like how open and airy these rooms have been that we've gone into on the Russian side of things. It feels like modern-esque.
And compared to the kitchen that we just saw, you could definitely tell that they were living lavish with their cooking. Their setup is pretty nice, in comparison at least. one thing that is unique about this open air museum is that it's like a life-size replica that you kind of just dropped into, and you can see how like the scale of a potentially like real village would be like, and like spacing and how the houses were. And even we were just on a hilltop that had like all the windmills. It's a lot more enjoyable than I initially thought coming into here. Well, look at those calf muscles stretch out.
Nailed it.
We figured it out. It was pretty fun, and it got scary real quickly. We picked up momentum and that thing was creaking, but it's a lot of fun. So typically we wouldn't go to a restaurant at a museum, but this one's different. Let me tell you, they had like a full Estonian menu, and that's exactly what we were looking for. So I got roast pork and sauerkraut, and I don't like sauerkraut, but I got it because you have to try it while you're here. We also have the Estonia national dish, mogi porter, and black bread, of course, one that's actually decked out with a lot of stuff, and a dessert. But we're starting with the roast pork. I will say, the meat's very tender, and this flavor shines where the sauerkraut kind of complements it. I never thought I'd be eating this, so I'm kind of like enjoying this moment.
I got mogi porter, which is mashed potatoes and grout, and it's not the national dish, but it is a very popular Estonian dish, and it looks like there's like ham on top of it. That's like the best scoop of mashed potatoes I've ever eaten.
Wow.
It's nice and salty and delicious, and then it also comes with sour cream on the side.
You should eat that raw?
I love sour cream. But we also got house rye bread with salted herring on it. That is pretty good. The freshness of the cucumbers and onions really complement the saltiness of the herring.
Their dessert was actually the daily offer, and we saw a lot of people getting it, which is a good sign. It's interesting that I'm eating it out of a bowl in the soup. Oh, it's like kind of syrupy. I mean, it's really good. It definitely tastes like a thickened sweet juice. I'm not complaining.
We made it to our next stop, which came highly recommended from Google. It has 4.8 stars out of 16,000 reviews. But we are at the Seaplane Harbour Museum at the Bay of Tallinn.
I think after this one, this may be our last museum, because we're getting a little museumed out, but also
we're trying to maximize that Tallinn Card.
So let's check out our last museum. Okay, I can see why this place has 4.8 stars. It has a nice pull factor just out of the gate.
So the museum starts on the second floor, and then there's a bottom floor and an outdoor part, so we have a lot to cover.
This museum is really insightful. It has a bunch of information about a variety of boats and buoys.
And I love that some of the boats, they have like the stories behind them. Like they have Olympic boats, or boats that have been in the Olympic, a sailing board that a woman crossed the Baltic Sea with for the first time. So I like the stories that go behind all of the artifacts that they have.
Becky also made an interesting point that I wish to be true. Becky said that all the boats were on the top because that's where they would sit on the water. And she said, how cool would it be if all the other stuff below the water would be down there, which is where we're heading to next. But there's already, you can see some bombs down there, different displays. I hope it's true, but it might just be a wishful thinking. They also have like this giant arch where you can climb up the middle. It's really steep, but you get a nice view of the top.
And then you can see the first seaplane that they have.
These are some big guns, and it's kind of crazy that it took 5 people to man this. 3 people were operating on the cannon, one would do the reloading, and the other one would scout. I can see why they're massive.
I don't think I've ever been on a submarine before either. Ooh, let's go!
I can't say I've ever been on a submarine before. And this submarine actually used to be like working, and now it's retired and it's just hanging up in a museum. Don't come in one if you're a little claustrophobic, because just all these like nooks and crannies. The bottom of the museum was equally insane. They had a minefield with different bottom mines, floating mines, and they also had the submarine run. You can see like where they're loading the torpedoes on. They also had like a room dedicated to like the World War I and like the Cold War exhibits, and also talked a little bit of how this place was actually constructed, which is only restored in 2012, but it looks like brand spanking new. But now we are heading to the outside area where you can see like different models of warships and battleships and just ships in general.
It's wild to me that these boats just get like handed around to different countries. Like this was a Finnish boat and then they handed it over to Estonia, and then I saw another boat where it was a Russian boat, and then I think it was a Finnish boat, and then they gave it to Estonia. So it's just gonna like hand these boats to different countries. I didn't know that.
Another beautiful day, another about to get rained on, and it's sprinkling right now. From over here you wouldn't believe it. Y'all, this place is a vibe. First off, it's actually free to go on all the ships. But where I'm at right now is this bar that doesn't open until 5, but it's actually a sauna as well. And so you go in there, you could do the polar plunge and get drinks. What a like interesting hangout spot that I would totally do.
Plot twist, we're not going back to the boats. There's another place that we can get into with the Tallinn Card, so we are gonna go there. I love that Tallinn has the old town that you can go explore, but then it has these other areas that are just as interesting and fascinating as the old town. Honestly, this city has a lot to offer. I'm glad that we're here for a few days.
Yo, this place is wild. Our ticket got us in for a combined 28 euros. And I don't know what to expect. There's a lot of inventions, a lot of interactive elements. We just played VR. I built a submarine. It was all like inventor theme. Becky was also doing it, building stuff. Now we're headed down to the lower level.
It's raining again.
Yeah.
It'll probably be done in like 20 minutes, maybe.
And so we won't be able to go to our last stop that we wanted to show you. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. We can explore some more.
We're back and the sun is shining, and I'm so glad we waited to come here when the sun was bright and warm because it is beautiful out. We are at Kadriorg Park, which is in the southeast part of town, and it's usually a place that I feel like doesn't get a lot of attention. We started off by going to this cute coffee place and we got us a curd pastry, and apparently using curd is very popular in their like baked goods. Those berries are so tart and delicious, and it's like a thick pastry. It's kind of like a sweet bread on the bottom, the curd, and then these delicious berries. Ooh, this is good. I don't think I've had a bad pastry here in Estonia. I don't think they make bad pastries. Which is a problem.
This park is a full vibe. It has a large pond, a beautiful garden that's well maintained. The main reason why we came here is because in this park is this massive palace, and it has a lot of colors. Look at the entrance on this place. Actually kind of crazy.
I love this palace, and I love town. There's just so many different things in this town, but it's beautiful. I'm so glad we didn't come yesterday when it was downpouring. These guys are scary. Their mouths are weird. Yeah, wire coming out their noses and eyes.
This garden is actually pretty impressive. It's symmetrical on both sides, like to the T, like the plant height, the fountains, the way they arrange the flowers, kind of incredible. And even the back of the mansion looks like the front too. The viewpoint from back here, like 10 out of 10.
And I like how there's not like a ton of people in here. Like there's people, but there's not like hundreds of people. It's a nice little quiet sanctuary where you can just walk around and enjoy the beauty. inside the palace is an art museum and it's actually $12 a person, so we decided not to do that. But it does bring up the Tallinn Card. Was it worth it? It was $68 a piece, and we would have spent $103 in all the museums and attractions that we went to. So it really depends on what you want to do in the city. If you're a museum person, totally worth it. If you don't like museums very much, maybe not. So just plan out your trip and do like some cost analysis like we did and make your decision. And a tip that we have if you are coming to Tallinn is to spend more than a day here and get outside the old town, because there's so many unique places in the city and so many just interesting places to see. So give yourself some time here, more than a day, and don't just see Old Town.
I'm really glad we got to spend a few days here, and we hope that y'all enjoyed see some of the old city and new city as much as we did. But our time in Estonia is coming to an end, unfortunately. But that just means we'll have to see y'all in country number 5.
And that is the bell tower, and it is working.
This one definitely sticks out, but reminds me from the lookout from Dragon Ball Z. Strength and honor.
How steep these stairs are. Oh.
The inaudible noise. Gotta find the One Piece. No, I'm just kidding.
Jeez, are you making anime references again?